Hello, my name is Jimmy. I'm a child passenger safety technician. And well, imagine this for a second. You want a plug-in hybrid. You're looking at the BMW 330e and you're like, that's just not efficient enough. There's not enough range and there's not enough power. But you want something like the M340i. You want something with more performance. Well, meet the Volvo S60 T8. Not something that you will think of right away, but it should be, because this is an amazing vehicle. And right now it's indicating I got 80 kilometers of EV range. Isn't that perfect? Let me tell you everything you need to know about this vehicle, starting with the looks. On the front end, let's be honest, it hasn't changed too much since its introduction. You still get the Thor headlamps, but this is a black edition, which means you got the blacked out front emblem. And take a look at the logo. There's not that typical Volvo logo here. It just says Volvo across, a little bit different than the rest. On the side here, we got these 19-inch blacked out alloys, and because once again, being the black edition, you got the black window surrounds as well as the blacked out mirror caps. What's nice about Volvo is, well, they give you proximity door locks not only on the front doors, but also on the rear. I do like that. And then moving to the back, we got this, well, traditional sedan shape, LED tail lamps, and more blacked out pieces. It's a Volvo. It's an understated look. It's not supposed to stand out, but this, in years to come, it'll still look great because it's, well, 2023 and it still looks great today. If we open up the trunk here, we get, well, under 12 cubic feet of space. It's definitely not too much. However, if you want more space, well, Volvo has something in the store for you. The V60 wagon is essentially this, but with more trunk space. All right, the back seats of the S60. I'm 5'11" and I got enough headroom. I'm like right on the headliner, but if I slouch just a bit, and it's absolutely fine. As this vehicle does have the cold weather package, I got heated seats back here, which is absolutely lovely. Really good materials throughout. And of course, you got your armrests with your integrated cup holders. The only kind of negative I would say about the back seats here is, well, just this hump in the middle. Because of the battery placement within the vehicle, it's going to be right here in the center. So, well, if you're going to be the center passenger here, you're going to be straddling that. Just maybe not the most comfortable place to be. However, if you're fitting kiddos in here, as mentioned before, I am a child passenger safety technician. And on the driver's side here, this is a collect lane, an infant seat fitting inside this cabin with absolutely no issues. And on the passenger side, a collect fünf, a rearward facing child seat here. Once again, no issues fitting that child seat in here. Because of how the front headrest is actually designed, well, it actually gives a little bit more room for the child seat. So actually, it creates a little bit more space, which is absolutely great. In terms of lower anchors, there's a set on the driver's side and there's a set on the passenger side behind these little covers. Very easy to access. And in upper anchors, there's just 3 behind the headrest. Also very easy to access. But let's move up to the front. All right, the front seats of the S60. I'm 5'11" and I fit perfectly in here. It actually has a panel roof, which is kind of rare for a sedan. It's nice, lets in plenty of light. The seats themselves, superbly comfortable, as typically a Volvo seat would. They are heated and you get your lumbar support and all that good stuff, but unfortunately you don't get your cooled seats or massaging seats. In front of me, I do have the heated steering wheel, thanks to the cold weather package, and has all the typical buttons that Volvo would give you. They're not labeled, but you know what? Over time, you're going to get used to it. And there's not a lot you can do, which is a good and a bad thing. It's good because it makes things simple. It's bad because there's less configurability. Because the cluster itself, you really have only 2 views. You got your regular one with the map in the center, and, well, you got the other one without the map in the center. That's really it. When you change your drive modes, it does change the right side a little bit, so you can like see the tack, for example. But there's not a big amount of changes within the cluster. I don't think that's totally a bad thing because it does show everything that you need and is perfectly legible. So I do like it. No heads-up display on the top, but the infotainment here, it's powered by Google and it's absolutely fine. You can download apps into it and all that good stuff. You do get CarPlay as well, but you just have to plug it in through a USB port in the center. There's no wireless CarPlay, unfortunately. But Bluetooth streaming does work well, so you have that option for you. The climate control, sometimes it's a little bit of a pain going into that menu and waiting for it. But overall, in my experience this week, it's been pretty good. I haven't had any issues with it. Although with software updates, things like this could get better. Overall, the interior of the S60 is exactly what you expect a Volvo interior to be. You get really nice materials throughout the cabin. It's sort of understated with kind of how it looks overall. And it's, something that just doesn't date, because this interior has been around for a long time. And even in today's standard, maybe the infotainment screen's a little bit small, but honestly, it looks great in here. It really does. Let's talk a little bit about the powertrain before we go for a drive. As this is the T8 model, it means under the hood, I get a 2-liter turbocharged engine. In total, combined with the electrical motors, it gets 455 horsepower and 523 pound-feet of torque. The internal combustion engine itself, it makes 312 horsepower, 295 pound-feet. And the electrical motor itself, 143 horsepower and 228 pound-feet. And for most people, that electrical range is, all you really need. To be honest, S64 is underselling it a little bit because, when it's fully charged, it indicates like 81 kilometers. And I did do like a trip and I got about 72 kilometers of full EV range with AC on. So 64 is quite low on what it actually could get. You should be able to get more than that. Of course, it depends on the environment, how you're driving it and all that good jazz, but you know what? 60, 70 kilometers is a decent amount for a lot of people. A lot of people don't live like 20 kilometers from work. Well, at least here in Vancouver. So the amount of electrical range that this has, it's really all you need. And if you need to go further, so if you have a family trip, for example, you want to head down to the States or whatever it may be, you got that internal combustion engine available for you whenever you don't have access to a charger. And that's the beauty of a plug-in, right? You have that electrical range when you can, and when you can't, just fire up the engine and you got all the rest. And when you fire up the engine, it's really where you get the full amount of power. Now, when the vehicle is just in electrical mode, it's still more than decent in terms of its power. Overtaking, going onto the highway, you really won't have any problems. But if you want like a 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds, you want the engine to fire up, and you're really gonna feel that 450 horsepower. But to get all of that, you do want to go into settings, and then from there go into driving, and then select power mode. That's when you get all of that, because when I floor it now, you get pushed back into your seat a lot more. It is quite a bit of difference in power mode versus hybrid mode. And in power mode as well, you can put the shifter into the braking kind of mode, but then you can use the Tiptronic function left and right to adjust the gears as you need. Honestly, the 8-speed that's on here, I'll leave it in drive. It's just better that way. There's no paddles behind the wheel or anything to control that. So just leave it in drive, really. And I generally just have it in hybrid because that's all I need. The electrical power that's from this, like electrical motor, it's so sufficient. Actually, let me put it in pure right now. Only pure EV, that's it. I'm gonna floor it. It's a good amount of power. It really is. You don't need more than this. I mean, if you do, the power plant is there. But for most of the time, that's more than sufficient. And when you're on the highway, the pilot assist works really well to keep you within the lane. It does show on the cluster that you should still have one hand on the wheel, and that's generally what I do, and it's perfect. It keeps, a good amount of distance with the vehicle ahead, and doesn't like slam on the brakes when someone merges in. It just slows down a little bit, so it's not as, abrupt as some other manufacturers are doing. In terms of the ride, it's Volvo soft. This isn't a Polestar vehicle. It's just, Polestar-like power. So you get the maximum amount of power, but it's not like it's, any firmer than a regular Volvo would be. And that's perfectly fine for me because it's very comfortable. I mean, it has all-season tires. It's not a performance vehicle, so you're not going to be throwing this around corners or anything like that. It's just happens to have 450 horsepower. Well, honestly, this S60, it's just a vehicle that a lot of people just haven't thought of when they're looking at a plug-in hybrid. And previously, well, it just didn't have that electrical range that a lot of people were looking for. Now, with the better battery chemistry and of course a bigger battery and about 70 kilometers of range, it's so good now. It really is. It kind of puts the BMW 330e to shame because it's about the same price. Here, as equipped, is $68,000. Sure, you can get into a BMW for lower, but once you stack on options, it's pretty similar. And that has a lot less power than this. I mean, this is less than the M340i, which still has less power. But I get it. You know, it's a BMW. It's more of the driving experience than just outright power. I get it. I really do. But if you're just looking at the power stats, this has actually a really, really good kind of value to it. And I love it. It's so understated. You're going to be passing people, no one's going to know what's going on. It's great. In any case, let me know what your thoughts are on the S60 in the comment section down below. Is this going to be something that you want to look into? Or, you know what? I just can't be seen in a Volvo. Give me the BMW. Give me the Volvo. Let me know in the comments down below. In any case, take care. Have a great day. And I'll see you later.